week. Today it's, I think it's in the upper 30s, so not so bad. There's no heat in this room, so I really feel it. How are things going with your car, your 51 Ford?
Oh, it's doing good. I finally got my windshield wiper blades and holders in the mail last week, and it took a while. The mail service lost the first batch, I guess, that was being delivered to the shoebox custom place, and so it's been a long wait, but that's okay. It's been cold, and I didn't want to get her out and mess her up anyhow. But that, and I've got the heater. What was that mechanism? Heater core. I got the gasket thing that goes on the firewall. Stuff to do that. So we're gonna back her out today and work on her a little bit, and then save the best for last. I got some work on that old Volkswagen. So it's a pain in the butt. But yeah, at least I got one dependable car, the old Ford. So that's about how it's gone, and it's been kind of cool here this week. Sun's shining, but when the wind's blowing a little bit, it just cuts right through you. So that's about how it's been, and that's about what my day's going to be like today. So let me see if there's any other check-ins. Come now.
And Whiskey Southern Mexico, Sierra, good morning.
Okay, I got Bill in the number 2. Bill, you're coming in good, and Mike in number 3. And you're coming in always good, so that's all fine. So early check-ins, if there's a number 4 for an early check-in, please step up now.
K0DWC.
And there's the old blast from the past, K0DWC, well, like that. But, okay, anybody else want to be number 5, please come now for an early check-in.
WA7, yes.
Okay, good morning, Henry. Got you in the number 5 spot, and you're coming in clear as a bell this morning. Is there anybody else like to check in early and be number 6? Please come now. Let me give it one more try before we got enough. I got 5 people to get this going, but is there anybody else like to check in for the first go-around? Please come now.
KV0W, South Lake Tahoe.
Good morning, Frank. Coming in strong here this morning. I bet you're a little frosty this morning. So, yeah. Is there anybody else out there who would like to be number 7 before we get going? Please check in now. Okay, nothing heard, so I'm going to give the rundown. Give somebody else time to wake up and maybe check in for the first go around. Let me get my spare eyes on here. Good morning. This is the Vintage Military Radio Net. This is W4 CBQ. My name is Carla, and I will be your net control this morning. We will be operating on 3974 KC. The Vintage Military Radio Net is a roundtable AM net that provides an opportunity for hams to operate their vintage military radio gear on the air. Military gear is encouraged but certainly not required. Check-ins will be given a number that can be used in the handoff. I will call for check-ins at the end of each roundtable session. If anyone has anything for sale or want, please mention it during your turn in the round table session. So far, get your pencils ready. So far in the number 1 spot, I got W6SSP, Steve. In the number 2 spot, I have N6BCT, Bill. In the number 3 spot, I have W7MS, Mike. In the number 4 spot, I have K0DWC, Chuck. In the number 5 spot, I have WA7YBS, Henry. In the number 6 spot, I have KB0W, Frank. Is there anybody else out there who'd like to join us for the first round? Be number 7. Please check in now.
W7MKA. W6MQI.
Okay, I got Robert, W7MKA, in the number 7 spot, and I got Dave, W6MQI, in the number 8 spot. Is there a lucky number 9 out there who'd like to check in? Please come now. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and get this rolling then. This morning, Chuck and I are on the ART-13 and the ARR-7, doing about 200 watts, give or take, on the D104 microphone and dipole antenna. So that's the rundown. Got a lot on the table to do today, but we're just going to have fun at doing it. So I'll keep it short and hand it up to the top. W6SSP to take it. This is Whiskey 4, Delta Victor Quebec.
Okay, thank you, Carla. W4NQ, this is W6SSP. Steve, just north of Santa Rosa, and using the Interpol College 75A1 receiver and matching 30E1 transmitter, putting out about 85 watts, D104 microphone, same old, same old. And Carla's very good on the car projects, good to get parts. The windshield wiper blades are kind of important this time of year, so too bad it took so long, but sometimes that's how it is with classic cars. The last couple of weeks I've been looking at some projects around here. Some things that have been sitting on the shelf for many, many years. Some things I've completely forgotten about. One of those was a kit of parts for a 1920s Superhet receiver. And a little history on that. Of course, most people know that Armstrong developed the circuit for the Superhet, sold the patents to Westinghouse, and when Westinghouse became part of RCA, they ended up with the patents. And since the circuit was so superior to regenerative receivers and TRFs that were in use at the time, widely in use, they decided they wanted to charge a lot of money to license people to build Superhets. So there weren't that many around other than RCAs in the 1920s. But the way some manufacturers got around that was to offer kits. And the kits consisted of usually quite a few things. Loud transformers, audio transformers, RF stuff, tube sockets, and directions. Anyway, that's what I found on the shelf. To tell you the truth, I've completely forgotten that I had it. So that will be a future project, maybe in the near future. We'll see how that goes. It turns out I have pretty much the whole kit, but not the directions. So it'll be a challenge. It'll be kind of a fun thing to build. So that's part of what's going on here. They sent it down to Bill, N6BCT, N6SSP.
Yeah, Bravo 6SSP and Bravo 7 Tango. We're having the same old turnout. We both up to one of the and 25 grams mercury level, and I keep telling my friends about this nut, and nobody's back. Anyway, so let's just start with W. It's just busy too. We've got to get an antenna up, and it hasn't done it yet. So that's the story there. Anyway, a territory word, W7MS, and 6 Bravo Total Tango.
Well, okay, Bill, N6BC TW7MS, and the Sunday morning Nevada-style military collector's net. We'll see what the thumbnail is for today. But that's okay. But okay conditions. We've had more marketably improved signal level conditions in the past, and we'll see how it goes. But still Q5 for the folks, and we'll see how that plays out here as the sun rises. But good morning, Carla, and of course your co-pilot Chuck, Steve. Great to hear you, and Bill, Henry, Frank, Robert, and Dave up to this point. So this morning running the Zenith ATC-1 on dynamo motor powered courtesy of a DY17A and my 40 farads of energy storage capacitors running about 125 watts of carrier on the dyno. So that's the setup here, and congratulations, Steve, on the self-contained swamp meat ham test that's rediscovery in the kit. Enjoy. We'll be anticipating future updates on that project. And with that, we'll keep it rolling because Carla's got to get out there and put on her windshield wipers. K0DWC W7MS. Okay, Mike. W7MS K0DWC. All right. Well, so far so good here. Steve's got a good signal. Bill, I tell you what, that's the loudest I think I've ever heard Bill here. Bill's loud. And Mike, you're pounding in just great. With another cool setup, ATC with the dynamotor, DY17. That's good stuff. And I heard Henry. Good morning, Henry. And Frank and Robert and Dave, good morning to you guys and everybody else this morning. So I'm running the same station Carla is, Sands for the radio receiver. She's got the ARR7 to her left, and I've got the R388 to my right on the loop antenna. So I'll mark myself down as having the R388 for the receiver for this morning. So anyway, that'll do it from here, I guess, for first round. So I'll hand it over to Henry, WA7 YBS, K0DWC. Sounded good, Henry.
Okay. K0DWC WA7 YBS. Yeah, the question is how long will I sound good? This is the Viking 1 again. And we had a series of 9 tests on the bench with no failures. And, I put it into the cabinet, and what do you think? It doesn't like being in the cabinet, I guess. But anyway, we're monitoring the output here, and it looks okay for the time being. And, well, good morning all. Everybody's got pretty good signals here. Actually, the further away the stations are, the better they sound. Robert is doing a good job, and so is Bill. And so anyway, Bill's stations are Q5, so it's no problem. And let's see, it was 21 degrees this morning, and let's see what else. I guess, guys, we got a few clouds, but not too bad. it's been very, very clear and very, very cold in the morning, but today happens to be, only about 20. So we were in the teens for quite a while in the mornings. So anyway, Viking 1 for the transmitter, 110 watts output, and to the collinear array, and the receiver is the HRO7 and the black wrinkle finish cable model, which is kind of scarce. They were used at airports. So anyway, let's get it over to Frank, KB0W, WA7YBS.
Okay, WA7YBS, KB0W. Well, good morning, everybody. Steve, Bill, Mike, Chuck, Henry, Robert, and Dave. Everybody is so far 10 or 20 over on the estimator here, and clearly Q5, so it's enjoyable listening to the AM this morning. Running the same old, the Johnson 500, about 320 watts into a dipole antenna facing north and aligned north and south, and it's about 32 degrees here. Been dreadful winter so far if you're a skier, but that's what life gives us every now and then. I presume that we're going to get some snow down the road. We've got February and March to go, so there's still hope, but so far my skiing's been absolutely dreadful. So anyways, I'll turn it over to Robert. Robert, take it away, please. W7MKA, this is KB0W.
All right, KB0W in the group, W7MKA. Well, good signals all the way around. I don't think I've missed a word so far from anybody, and we're not running anything super special. We're on a GCS5, but running it through a ST200, so we're cheating. Maybe 100 watts a carrier or so, but we've had about the same winter as Frank was thinking. This last week has been pretty gloomy and foggy down here. Lots of days when it's high of 36 and a low of 36, and you don't see the sun. So, but we did get a few moments of blue sky yesterday. So maybe we'll have a repeat of that this afternoon. It'll be nice. Now to W6MQI to take it. W7MKA.
All right, W7MKA. Hello, 1, 2, 3. What? There we go. All right, W7MKA, W6MQI. All right, your TCS5 sounding good. Well, I'm on TCS14 with the modified RS38 Echo microphone. Driving a Grace L7 for, 150 watts or so. It's 42 degrees here, and boy, it was beautiful yesterday, and I've seen some clouds out there this morning, and I'm hearing a lot of static crashes as well. It sounds like maybe it's raining up there in Nevada somewhere. Just the comments about the windshield wipers. But good morning, everybody. Everybody's sounding good down here. And Henry, your Viking 1 sounding good. So up to Carla. W4DVQ, W6MQI.
Okay, W6MQI, W4DVQ here. Well, very good. Everybody sounds great. Let's just hope it remains this way through the net. But let me see if there's anybody who'd like to check in and be number 9 before we go to round 2. Please come out. Okay, nothing heard. I don't know what's happened to Ron, and I don't know what's happened to Vern. Vern must be frosted over somewhere. But anyhow, yeah, on the windshield wiper thing, it took so long to get them. I'm beginning to wonder if I shouldn't have ordered 2 sets. or get a head start on it anyhow. But yeah, hopefully that's all going to be good. And we'll let the horses out. And of course, they like to help us in the car, especially the young one. The old one don't care, but the young one's right there with his head under the hood with us. So yeah, yeah, it's like a big old puppy dog. But yeah, I don't know if you guys want to hear this or not, but I got a small little funny critter story that I'll make it short. I've been watching and feeding these quails, and I got ground squirrels and chipmunks. I got like 3 little chipmunks and ground chipmunks. And when I feed them, and this quail was sitting there because the food was getting sparse. So they were all trying to hurry up, running around and taking off with it and stuff. And this old rabbit was sitting there eating one of the last pieces, and this quail just flat had her wings pinned back and everything, and went running right up behind him and pecked him on the butt, and he leaped, and she grabbed the last bite and took off through the bushes. It was the funniest thing I ever seen. But animals, the critters are pretty fun to watch if you got time to sit and watch them like that. But yeah, they're out there every morning waiting. But I just thought I'd throw that in there. So before I get going, let me check one more time, just for checking. Is there anybody like to check in? FB number 9, please come now. Okay, nothing heard. So we'll hand it up to Steve, and very good with finding that project. I got something that's still in a box that needs to be put together. It was a kit thing I got from somewhere. I don't even remember where it came from. But I don't even know where it's at. But up to you, Steve. W6 SSP W4 DVQ.
Okay, Carla, very good. And hey, thanks for the critter story. We love those here. My hobbies are ham radio, old cars, and pinball machines. But my wife's hobby is critters, and we've had a whole bunch of them over the years. And yeah, she puts out walnuts for them, and we see what you saw, and we see on a daily basis here. We've had a couple of squirrels as pets that were abandoned when they were very, very young. And one was 8 years old, the other was 9 years old. And I'll tell you, squirrels are acrobats. They were such a kick. Lots of stories. The last critter that we had was a pet, which was also abandoned, was Poppy the possum. And he lived for about 4 years. But had a good life. Loved to eat hot dogs and avocados. Anyway, lots more critter stories. I'm going to get into those. Anyway, another interesting project I came across that I had some parts for decades here are for spark stations. And I've got quite a few. I've got enough parts for 3 different variations of spark stations. And most of the stuff is in pretty good condition, but I found a couple of things that are very old and need some work. One of them is a helix. It's flat wound solid copper coil, about 8 inches in diameter, about a foot long, and 30 turns, so it must be very low frequency, 200 meters or lower, something like that. And it has 4 supports, and it's a manufacturing item. And one of the supports is missing, so I'm going to have to fabricate that. It's just going to be a matter of, I have the material, but I just have to cut slots in it, but that's the supports. I need to redo the wood ends on those. And another thing I found, which is pretty interesting, I forgot I had it, was a rather large rotary spark on a wheel. And those rotary sparks that GM's used were used for contacts. And it's fairly low power, quarter kilowatt, half kilowatt, something like that. But this one is wide, and it's about 3/4 of an inch wide, and rather than point back input, it uses bar contacts for higher current. I have no idea how much power this thing was set up for, was originally used for. But I just have the wheel itself, so I'm going to have to fabricate a stone base for it. I've got a motor that I think will work from a Model 15 teletype machine, and I'll have to fabricate the fixed contacts too. So these are all future projects. And as soon as the shop warms up a little bit, I'll get to those. So other than that, another project I came up with was to put another QP lamps. In the mail. Another thing to keep me busy. So we'll send it down to Bill. M6VCT W6SSP. Take it, Bill.
And I have a lot of roads lately, but I don't know if the road goes far now. That kind of stuff. I haven't been able to do myself. I feel raspberry time. And do I find down and work on this again. And the building. And I'm not going to be 95. And what's the sign out?
Well, okay, Bill. M6VCT and the group W7MS. Well, good reception from all. And nice to hear Robert making the long haul from Southern Oregon. And great on the weather reports. Talked to my son up in Eugene, and he said it was blue sky and a nice day. And he said he also has the plus that if there are any inversion layers with fog, he can generally, in his work mode, he can for one's mental health in wintertime. And we certainly enjoyed quite a bit of sunshine and relatively warm solar days here the past week or so. It's been really nice. And currently 21 degrees and 62 degrees in Studio B. So, of course, W7MS here. And good on all the projects. And I neglected to mention my receiver, and that's Marconi R1155A. And that's just so I can look at the eye tube fluctuate with signal level. It's always fun to have an eye tube in front of you in the operating position. Projects here actually kind of wrap things up with the dyno project over the week, and got the 17A and the old school 17 going from 1945. Of course, this one is post-war with an Air Force inspection stamp and a reworked bottom end, so to speak, much improved over the original 17 with purpose-built LC noise filter networks, etc., and relays. It's probably was quite an improvement on the reliability quotient, but of course post-war. And I'm taking some time off from radio projects after doing that. And part of that situation is having to go underneath the office desk to get at the various connections and several sea trials with for the energy storage cap project. It was kind of like going caving, and that got a little seriously old, so I think I'm in a recovery mode from that. But we've got that done, and a few other commitments radio-wise that I need to tackle, and that'll be next on the bench, doing some outsourcing, let's say. But again, it's nice to hear everybody, and Henry with the Scarce HR07, I think it's been interesting to notice over time as you've gathered more information on on that set from its initial purchase because it is extremely unusual. Carla, thanks on the critter stories. I enjoy my quail, the coyote, corvid, and the chicken. It was not incorrectly, but commonly known as the chicken hawk, as it feeds on other birdies in and about the property here. It roosts up in the neighbor's tree and takes advantage of their bird feeders by feeding on the birds that feed at the bird feeders. So that's always gives some action here in the cruelty of nature, let's say. Also the scarcity of winter there with your rabbit story. Yes, one must be aggressive to survive. Quail and the bunny rabbit. But we'll keep it rolling. So Chuck, in the co-pilot seat, K0DWC W7MS.
Okay, Mike. Very good. Yeah, you know what? I was just going to ask you what receiver you were running, and boy, you were right on top of it there, man. I was able to write it down. So R1155A Marco. Alrighty. This is ATC and the DY-17 Dynamite. And next time you talk to Trevor, tell him that we said hey, and look forward to talking to him on the air again here soon. Hopefully. Yeah, I concur with Mike. Everybody still sounds really good. Steve is still up there. Bill is still loud. Mike, of course, you're loud. Henry's pounding in. Henry, that Viking 1 sounds really good, I think. I'll have to find out what you did, what all you had to do to it today. So, but anyway, it's sounding really good. And Frank, the Viking 500 sounds incredible. Big power, 340 watts. And Robert, the TCS-5, that must have been one that escaped the Russians during World War II, because those are pretty rare. Those low number TCSs, 90% of them went to Russia during World War II. And I don't think there's a whole lot of them around anymore. I think the lowest I've ever seen in person has been like a TCS-7. I've never seen a 6, I've never seen a 5. Not that they don't look about the same, but, on the tag, is what I'm talking about. That's a pretty rare bird there. And Dave, TCS-14, that was, I think, the next to last on next. I think they did make a 15 and then quit. I could be wrong on that. If it wasn't a 15, they stopped at 20. That RS-38, that's a pretty decent sounding microphone. Getting a lot out of it, so that's cool to hear one of those on the air. So good job there, Dave. And Steve, good on all the projects. It's funny that you go through everything and all of a sudden you find something that maybe you forgot you had, and it's all sitting there all nice and neat in a box and ready for you to put together. Yeah, Carla's right. Carla had some stuff to put together too. Her and Mike, when we used to go to all the swap meets, I always saw Mike down in there digging for parts and stuff, and there's Carla right there rubbing elbows with him, digging in another box. It was pretty funny. But, she'd dig in there and find all kinds of different stuff. But, anyway, everything's good, and we got a nice, strong group of folks here this morning, running a bunch of diverse equipment again, so that's always a good thing. So, with that, I will send it down, or I should say I'll send it across the street to Henry, WA7, YBS K0, DWC. Go ahead, bud.
Okay. K0 DWC WA7 YBS.
good on all. Good copy from everybody. Emissions aren't as good as they have been, but they're okay. You know, everybody can do fine. Some are stronger than others, but that's the way it goes. So let's see. As far as critter stories, we have the wild horses come in to the property all the time. And last week, one of them discovered the counterweight for the colonial array. You know, it's the tall cottonwood fence on a pulley, comes down, and it's a weight, leaves a weight on a line that swings around. Well, the horse thought that was something fun to play with. 2 days in a row, he had to come in and knock that thing around, and then kind of grab the line and wiggle it around. So, but after 2 days, he got bored with it, and he's left it alone since. So anyway, they curious. They find things to play with. Of course, it didn't hurt the antenna at all, but pulling anything on it, it just swung around, and that's kind of normal. And let's see, the other funny story, and Mike might remember about the bees. Well, the bees have been kind of long gone. We haven't seen any in quite a while. So the guy that comes here and cuts the sagebrush and does stuff like that, gets rid of the debris on the property, had him cut up the tree that was laying on, or I should say the log that was laying on the ground. Well, he'd been out there sawing on it with the chainsaw for quite a while, and I'm going to go out there and check and see what he's doing. Well, he had put about 10 feet off of that log back in. So I get out there, and he's gotten into part of the hive that had honey, and he's eating the honey. You know, he's sampling the honey, eating the comb, and so he got more nerve than I do. But anyway, I was surprised at how huge that hive was. Of course, there's no bees. This is just, honey that was, I guess, their storage. But it was at least 10 feet back in this log, solid, of honeycomb and junk like that. So anyway, yeah, the guy that was cutting up the log sampled the honey. And so with that, I won't attempt to fade anymore with this Viking 1. What I did was I changed the bias rectifier tube. I resoldered the bias divider network, and I also came to the conclusion that Johnson Mod B does kind of change a little bit in the modulator, and you just have to kind of figure that that's not documented as far as Johnson was concerned. Hey, do it, and don't ask any questions. So anyway, yeah, as far as the values of voltages that you get versus, modulator current and the bias voltages and the screen voltage on the 807s, it's quite a bit different than what you'd expect, but it seems to work. So there you go. The other thing that seemed to be the main culprit was the plate blocking capacitor. It's very, very Rube Goldberg how that's mounted, and it's mounted on a bracket, that right angle bracket that's attached to the roller inductor frame, and the screw was loose, and you can't get at the screw for the capacitor unless you take the bracket off. So naturally, nobody ever checked that, and so that was, I think, the main culprit in the intermittency of this problem. But I took it all apart and cleaned everything and tightened the screws like they should be, and So anyway, I hope it's fixed. We'll see. And with that, at least it's looking at the modulation monitor here, it seems to be going better than it has in the past. Over to Frank, KB0W, WA7YBS.
WA7YBS, KB0W. Okay, Henry. Yeah, you're sounding really good. The fidelity sounds fine, and good signal strength, 10 over S9 on the S meter here. As far as projects go, I got on the auction site a large CMOS keyer that I'm going to be assembling either this week or next week, and I need another CMOS keyer for my other Drake transceiver here. Operate mostly CW in the evenings on 40 meters, so that's pretty much my shtick. And as far as animal stories, yeah, I got a big old brown bear got up on my back deck and decided to disassemble my barbecue. And by golly, he did a good job at it. Took the whole damn thing apart, and it was scattered all over the deck. I managed to chase him off after the fact, so it really didn't do any good to the barbecue. But I managed to assemble most of it, and it is working now. But the bears here are the big deal, and it's been so warm out. It's been spring-like weather. The snow is receding. There's very, very little snowpack. So it's been a very, very unseasonable weather so far. And from what I understand, Vail, the ski corporation that owns all the ski areas around the country, they've had a 20% loss in revenue this year because of the poor snowfall all around the west coast, and they've had a couple of labor strikes as well. So they're really in trouble financially. So it's been a strange winter. So with that, I'm going to bid farewell to everybody. I wanted to thank Carla for running the net. You did a great job, as usual. And it's nice to hear all of the folks on Angel Music here. This will be my 73 round, and I'll try and check in next weekend. So with that, I'll turn it over to Robert. W7MKA, this is KB0W, signing off and clear.
All right, 7-3 is Frank, KB0W in the group, W7MKA. Okay on all the critter stories. That's pretty fun. We don't have anything around here other than kitties, which do supply us with plenty of drama. My wife's always insisted on feeding them outside, so you can imagine that they end up collecting a lot. So there's only a couple three that come inside, but lots more that hang around. So it's kind of run off everything else, but provide us a lot of entertainment with the drama. And okay on the, I think there's a couple stations running the ART-13 or ATC or something like that. And I don't have mine is at the other house, but I got a call, and I think it's a 18S4 that somebody gave me, which I'm looking at right now. It's a repackaged ART-13 with the receiver in there. I think it's anything fantastic for a receiver, but it's channelized. So I was just thinking I should get that going one of these days. I don't think I've ever heard one, but it doesn't look like much, just the usual black aircraft box, but that's all I understand is it's pretty clean inside. Maybe we'll just make that a project one of these days. And okay, Steve, on the Spark station part, yeah, I kind of wonder if the Spark station could be actually made usable. I think that they got more advanced as time went on. As far as I know, I've never heard one. My grandpa used to have the coil out of a Model T that he would turn on, and every time that the neighbor kids' music got too loud, and, I think that there were kids that used those as a spark transmitter, just by keying on the 6-volt side, and then using the high voltage through their signal. So you could get on the air pretty simply. I was just reading a thing about Irving Vermeulen, amateur number 1, and how he and his neighbor kind of ended up in a wireless arms race. It started out with a 1/4 kilowatt, and then one of them got a 1/2 kilowatt spark, and then they eventually got up to 5 kilowatts, and he got kind of offered a position on the ship. Just so he would shut his home station down, because when those two stations were going at 5 kW, that basically blacked out everything around. We haven't been up to much project-wise. I've got a big breadboard transmitter that's been giving me a lot of trouble. It's a 1937 style, built more recently in 2000. Runs a 6L6 into a 35T into a 250 TL. And you find almost that exact lineup in the Jones 1937 handbook. And so, but I haven't been able to get as much out of it as it seems like I should. The book says it should load up to 300 mils, and the best I can do is about 150. So we've been learning a lot about link coupling and how to improve that. But the bigger problem is its talk back in the modulator. It's enough that I can even get feedback to the microphone, like having a little speaker, tinny little speaker there that I can hear my own voice. So we've been dealing with that too. Done a few things. I read that taking the B+ off the mod transformer using the so-called modified Heising flash up could eliminate that. We tried that, and if anything, I think it made it worse. So we're out looking for inspiration on that problem. Well, down to Dave, W6MQI to take it, W7MKA.
If I have. Alright, 77MKA, W6MQI. Halfway or fading off on me. We're going to cut to maybe 45% or whatever, what you were saying. The conditions have changed a little bit. Oh, that's pretty spoiled here. I don't even go duck cutting this year. There's no ducks. They're not coming down. I think with the warmer weather, warmer climate, they're not heading south as much. My neighbor went out the whole season. He got 2 ducks. One of them was a spoonie, and he said that to his dog. You don't really want to eat those. It's not very good tasting, but yep, things are changing here when it comes to that. And Steve, man, you got endless supply of radios to work on up there. Always something new. Keep yourself busy. And I'm based on the QCX. I actually have an extra QMX Plus here that I've decided to design another 3D printed enclosure for it. I'm going to pass it off of a Leopard 1 radio. I don't know if that's British man-pack radio, but I'm going to try and incorporate that 12-key pad for direct frequency input, and it does a few other things too. So, but that'll be a while before that ever gets finished. I've been working on my RF amps. I got a bit here and there. And what else? Oh, Chuck, yeah, the RS-38 here is modified. The original jets that were in it were just dead. I couldn't get hardly any audio out of it. So I bought one of those carbon mics that everybody's been buying. What was it, EMS 94? And I gutted the microphone, and I had to 3D print a new cover and an adapter for the inside to hold the mic element. That's what I'm using inside the RS-38. It turned out really well. I'm kind of proud of it a little bit, but let's see. Ron, yeah, he's missing in action. He's making videos. I heard WM about that. Hope everything's okay. Maybe just his noise level is not as does like head. He can't get on right now anyway, but hopefully he returns. Other than that, I've been broke out my this in a while. Broke out my RCF planes, and I've been flying those at the local club here. It's been a long time since I've on my airplane, and going through props. I've gone through 3 or 4 props now. Keep breaking them. I'm getting better, and boy, the RC industry sure has changed. You can't even get balsa wood kits anymore. Everything is these foam airplanes from China, and 3D printed planes now. And so I downloaded a couple of files to print out my own plane. Boy, it's pushing my limits on 3D printing knowledge. Luckily, I found a YouTube video of a guy who explains how to set everything up for the particular manufacturer that I purchased from. So, because I was just scratching my head on setting things up, and he kind of spells it all out, so that really helped. But one thing neat about the 3D printing the plane itself is just open parts. You just reprint the part. You have to send it off to send away for a new part or try to build something. So it's kind of slick that way. But they are a little more fragile. You gotta try to avoid as many crashes as possible because they're plastic. What's going on here? I woke up sore this morning, trying to figure out why my house so sore. And I was like, oh yeah, I have a ghost practice net in the backyard, and I've been taking the driver and the irons and stuff. I woke up this morning all sore. I was like, what the hell? Like, oh yeah, I was out in the backyard golfing, so gotta get myself back in shape for that. So anyway, that's all that's going on here. So let's see, back up the car. W4DV2 about 06 MQI.
Okay, W6MQI, W4DVQ here. I wanted to say 73 to Frank, and of course Henry, you'll hand it to Robert. I know you do that. I just had to say that. But anyhow, let me check just to be sure and see if there's a late bloomer out there wants to be number 9. Please come now. Okay, nothing heard. I guess we'll start the 73 round, but I'm gonna say something real quick. Dave, on those RCA planes, a long time ago, at least it seems like a long time ago, I don't know if it was YouTube or eBay, this guy had a Corse Air RCA plane, and that thing was cool. But I don't think I could fly one of those. I'm not that coordinated unless I'm sitting in it. Well, I wasn't that coordinated either. But anyhow, and Steve, just real quick, my granddad, when I was little, brought me home a baby possum from work and told me it was a kitty. And I raised that thing for a while. It would sit under my hair. I had long hair. It'd sit on my neck under my hair. And anytime somebody would walk up and stick its head out my hair and hiss at them, they thought I was its mama. Well, I didn't find out until I was in my 30s that my mom and my aunt got tired of my hair stinking like that old possum. And while I was asleep during the night, they let that possum go, and I thought it had run away. Well, they never told me until lately, until I was in my 30s. But yeah, just real quick, so cut that short, and I'll just go ahead and hand it to Steve. W6 SSP 73 round, guys. W4 DBQ.
Okay, very good, Carla. Yeah, possums, a lot of people think of possums as being kind of dirty critters, and you don't really want them around. And I'll tell you, from my experience, it's nothing could be further from the truth. The squirrels learned how to go on paper, and the possums, they're constantly cleaning themselves. It's just not crazy. It's a shame people shoot them, but you know, a lot of that is due to ignorance. They make wonderful pets if you get them very, very young, but only if they're young. Otherwise, they can get pretty wild. Very good on the wild horses, Henry. Whenever I think of Nevada, I think that's the first thing I think about. I picture wild horses out roaming around on their own. So it's pretty cool to hear that you have those in that area. And Frank, the wild bear story. That's funny. The only time I've ever seen a bear in the wild is far western North Carolina, where I folks had a cabin, and pretty neat critters. They don't look ferocious from a distance, but they can be. You don't want to be around them. And let's see what else. All kinds of stuff to comment on, but I'll probably best not to. Yeah, I went through a blind for a while there with no contacts. You know, it's just a matter sometimes of taking a look around and looking at things that have been kind of buried over the decades, and been doing a lot of that the last couple of weeks, and that's where I've come up with some of it. So kind of neat. I really look forward to this kind of stuff, and part of the fun is not just doing it, but doing the research on it too. And Henry, I've been using your site to look at some of the spectacular stuff, and turns out just about everything you have in your pictures, various stations all the way, including the Western Electric 7A 3-tube amplifier and the matching horn spectrum. So I wish I had room to set all this stuff out. Of course I don't, but at least I've got it. And that's at least a big part of the battle. Oh, what else? I think that'll do it for me. So we'll say 73 guys. Hope to see you all next weekend. Noise level has come up a little bit, but propagation's actually been pretty good today. So I sent it down Half Moon Bay. Good morning, Bill. ACT W6SSP 73 all.
My son was a power in the backpack a barn was casted right there when he was sitting down in his train outside the garage. And my style was a bit the man climbing foot and going to barn is came into my foot. He wanted to come into my foot. He wanted to clean up. And I wasn't having about it. It's so interesting.
Okay, well, I think Bill handed it to me. He's too much distortion there, but not quite sure. But this is W7MS. Let me drop, make sure. Okay, well, I guess it's over to me. I need some extra sensory perception. N6BCTW7MS. Well, good copy on everyone except Bill at this point in time. And boy, actually forced me to take notes. I've got things about the Viking 1, and Henry's done some rework and improvements over the original construction. And he's crossing his toes and fingers that he's got all the issues resolved, but it's sounding mighty fine in Torino. On all transmissions. Frank's mentioning the distressed economic situations for the ski resort business on the West Coast. It's ironic that we've had a relatively low precipitation, warm winter, and the East Coast is really, in the central U.S., has really been nailed with some extremely low temperatures, conversely, but and very little what I've seen on the interweb, very little discussion on these issues relating to weather in North America. They seem to be mostly focused on politics, go figure. And gear projects for Frank, the Barbecue Bears, and Dave is extremely busy. I was enjoying your discussion on the 3D printing for the RC airplanes. That's can't wait to see the Mark I version when you figure out all the parameters to get that ironed out. But as you push your envelope of knowledge there in 3D printing, looking forward to that. I was chuckling about your backyard driving range. But at least you have an answer to the question, why am I sore? Because if you didn't have an answer, that might be more disconcerting. Absolutely. And thanks, Chuck. I'll pass along the salutations to Trevor from you and Carla. And Robert, fine on the 18S4. I have one here. It's been on the air for over 20 years. And the official military definition is AN/ARC-59, so it does have a military application, or at least an official ARC designator. And we'll maybe get that on here again. We've had it on sometime in the past couple of months, because I finally got it up here on 3974. And it is heavy with that internal, essentially ART-13 dynamotor, and getting it off the shelf for a visit took about 10 years of motivation here, but it is on frequency, so maybe we can time it. Maybe we can have 18S4 to 18S4. Wouldn't that be exciting? But let me see. I failed in one comment on the GTEL microphone elements. I actually blew the NPN Darlington transistor, the MPAS-14, in that microphone element. That was the one that was disemboweled and living in a push-to-talk Turner Telex microphone case. And an easy fix had some 14s in the junk box, but a little disconcerting. I'm still trying to figure out the failure mode. Maybe it was just one of those things, but it's up and running. So that was a good save, and nice to see that based on the circuit boards, silk screening and nomenclature, it's domestically manufactured. Doesn't have the made in China look to it. And the only thing that was wrong was the silk screening was incorrect for the placement of that Darlington transistor. They silk screened it backwards, but which had me scratch my head. But obviously, since it worked 180 out from the silk screening originally, it had to be correct. But enough of that blither blather. Copyright W7MS 2025. We'll have to renew it for this year. But with that, 7.3s from Reno, and over to you, Chuck. K0DWC W7MS.
Okay, Mike, and don't forget the other one. It's only ham radio. Oh. All right. Well, so far so good. Starting to get just a little bit of
had just a little bit of QSB on Robert, but he was, you know, we could understand everything Robert was saying on the TCS-5. Everybody else is still fine. Bill was still loud here. And I'm glad that the path from here to Grants Pass was good, because we like to hear Robert on here too when he checks in. That path from here from Dayton Valley up to there, you know, it's marginal at best, you know, and the days that we do get it, you know, they're few and far between, but Robert's effort getting in signal down here, so great job there, and great net this morning, so a lot of good stuff, a couple of Vikings, a couple of ARTs, a couple of TCSs, you know, it's just really, really good all the way around. So anyway, I'll go ahead and say my 7 threes, and I guess, let's see, Henry? Oh yeah, Henry's doing that control next week, so, and then after that, I do it again, so. Everybody take care, and have a good day today and a good week ahead, and we'll talk to you guys next weekend. So with that, I will send it over to my mentor, WA7YBS in the group, K0DWC. Go ahead, take it, Henry.
Okay. K0DWC, WA7YBS, okay. Yeah, I was in the same boat that Dave was as far as copying Robert. I was only getting about 40% that last transmission of from Robert, and I was in sort of the same situation there as Mike with Bill. I couldn't get him. I go exalted carrier with Bill, so I turned the BFO on to beat him, and it usually helps, but it didn't help that time. So anyway. With that, we will say 73. Everybody have a good weekend, and hope to hear everybody back. Hope Robert can copy me, so I'm going to turn it over to him. 73 all around. W7MKA WA7YBS.
Yeah, you're no trouble. I mean, we've kind of faded signals have faded a bit, but I don't think I've missed hardly a word except Bill. He's always tough, but we'll also say 7 threes, and maybe catch you next week. Down to Dave, W6MQI to take it, W7MKA.
All right, W7MKA, W6MQI. Well, so copy that time, Robert. You came up, so no problem copying you. Yep, things are busy around here. I try to keep myself busy. Golfing, flying airplanes, and whatever it is. Yeah, it keeps the old mind active. Yeah, as Steve mentioned about bear seeing skews. Oh boy, I don't know about that. Maybe from afar. I told this story a few years ago. I had a buddy and I were mountain biking in the Bighorn Mountains of Wyoming and had a run-in with a bear. I'm thinking it was probably a mama bear. We never saw the cubs, but this was a very aggressive bear, and the old bear spray, you had to brandish the bear spray, and he or she did not want to go away. Finally, we were able to convince her, stay away, and she took off. But I damn near had a heart attack. Yeah, I've seen black bears up in the mountains here, and they see you and they just split. They're not. At least the ones I've been around haven't been aggressive, but the bear in Wyoming was not friendly at all. So no interest in being around bears. So anyway, guys, we'll say 73, and talk to you guys next week. And so that's it. Up to you, Carla. W4DVQ, W6MQI.
Okay, very good. W6MQI, W4DVQ here. Very good, guys. Thanks for this wonderful net this morning. It was fun. So everybody sounded good, and I hope all of us turn back or come back next weekend. So with this, I'm going to go ahead and close the net. This is Whiskey 4 at Delta Victor, Quebec, securing the vintage military radio net. I would like to thank everyone for their participation and invite everyone back next Sunday morning where Henry will be net control. We are turning the frequency over to regular amateur radio use. This is W4DBQ signing off. 73 guys.